Hello everyone, it's Miss Cook. April is National Minority Health Month. And in honor of National Minority Health Month, we're going to discuss plant-based diets. I have two special guests here today, Erica Dye.
Hello everyone.
And Sierra Green. How are you ladies doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Great.
Thank you for having us.
So I have a couple of questions that I want to ask you guys about plant-based diet.
Absolutely.
Okay, first of all, what is a plant-based diet?
So a plant-based diet is basically you're eating foods that only come from plants. Now that's including oils, that's including seeds, that's including nuts, and beans as well. So you're only eating stuff that comes from plants.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, and also I wanted to add to that is, yes, she's absolutely correct. It's everything that's coming from a plant, so it's going to also consist of your fruits and your vegetables as well too. You're not going to eat anything that comes from an animal when you're doing the plant-based diet. It has to be raw eating, things that are planted in the earth that comes from a plant, basically.
Okay. Can you eat meat and still have a plant-based diet?
No. A plant-based diet, you have to be very strict with it. You can't eat meat, you can't wear leather. There's a lot of restrictions to it. So what I always say is if you don't know completely, just don't put a title on it. Because when you put that title on it, that I'm a vegan, then they're looking, oh, but you're wearing bear fur today. You know, you got sheepskin on. You have this purse that came from whatever leather. You know, so it's very, very strict if you're doing a straight plant-based and consider yourself vegan.
Okay. So that's the next question. What is the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian?
So yeah, so you can't wear wool, no leather goods, no eggs, no honey. There's some people who are vegan. Well, they have a plant-based diet and they still eat eggs or dairy. Those are considered lacto-vegetarians. So you're still eating a piece of dairy, but not the animal itself. You're eating something that's coming from the animal. Whereas there's people who do not want to harm the animals, no harm done, so you're straight vegan. Very strict.
And also too, a couple other differences between vegan and vegetarian. You have to look at your 100% whole grains. With the vegan, they're strictly 100% whole grain, whereas vegetarians, they may allow themselves to eat white bread, bread containing flours. Also too, with vegans, strict vegans tend to typically stay away from your sugars as well. It has to be a plant-based sugar. They're not going to go for the sugar that we get in the supermarket, the granulated sugars as well too. So everything has to be basically strictly plant-based. It has to be raw, clean eating.
So you could substitute, you know, your granulated sugar with cane sugar.
Absolutely.
It's just cane sugar is kind of hard to open up. Oh, and honey as well. Yeah, honey is very good.
That brown sugar? It has like a brown
So that's
look
sugar in
to
the
it?
raw. And I believe that even has some process to it as well. So many vegans will not use that because there's been a process to it. You want that straight. I took this plant out of my garden and this is what I'm eating.
Absolutely.
Very strict. So if you don't know, just don't put a title on it until you're very comfortable and understand exactly what's going into your body.
So if I eat meat and let's say 80% of my diet I want to do plant-based. I want to try to change my eating habits. So would that be considered a plant-based diet also, or I shouldn't even name it?
I wouldn't name it at all because you are still eating animals.
Okay.
Whether it's just on Mondays, you're still consuming that animal.
Oh wow.
So just so that you can be sensitive to other people who are, you know, very strict and on the food diet. I would just no title to it until you know.
Until you know.
Yeah. So like like I said, if you eat eggs but don't eat dairy, you're lacto-ovo vegetarian. if you eat eggs and dairy, you're an ovo vegetarian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot of names to it.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Wow.
I just consider, you know, I only eat fish. I consider myself a pescatarian.
Yeah.
I guess I can call myself an ovo pescatarian because I do eat eggs and I take milk.
Okay.
Only if like I'm cooking macaroni and cheese or something because almond milk doesn't taste the same.
Oh.
But like
Oh, wow.
like you said, you might only eat meat once a week. I don't eat dairy all the time.
Okay.
It may be once a month. But I can't say I'm a straight vegetarian or vegan because I do consume those products.
Oh, wow.
And then
Okay.
myself, I've been all three. It's been seasons where I've been strict vegan
Oh,
and dietary
Okay.
in clothing. And then I've been vegetarian, then I've also been pescatarian. So
so
I've
what is a
done all three.
pescatarian?
So a pescatarian is where you're going to allow yourself fish, a diet of fish and seafood.
Oh, okay.
So you're staying away from your beef, you're staying away from chicken, you're staying from anything of that nature. So you're going to stick to seafood, you're going to stick to your fish, but you're also eating plant-based.
Okay.
But the only meat that you will be consuming is just the fish and the seafood. So that's the difference.
That's the
And some
difference.
people even get a little deeper with the pescatarian and say if it's not wild caught, they won't eat it.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
So it has to be wild caught.
absolutely.
As opposed to
As
farm
opposed to-
raised? Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, what's the difference between farm raised and wild caught?
I believe it just has to do with what they're feeding them.
Okay.
When they're wild caught, they're eating what they would normally eat on a regular day. You know, when
Okay.
they're farm raised, we don't know what that farmer is feeding the fish.
Okay.
I've been to farms where they have had the garden on top, the fish at the bottom, and then the water just kind of flotates through the plants.
Oh,
Very
wow.
good for the fish, very good for the plants. And then, you know, that's good. So we know, you know, I got to see that with my eyes. This is a
Right.
good process. This
Oh.
fish is good. These plants are good. I don't know what every other farm is doing with their,
Absolutely.
you know, with their fish.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Very true.
Wow. So how long have you guys been eating this way?
I have been like this, what is it, April? Is it April now? So exactly 2 years
Oh, wow.
this month, yes.
Wow. What
Oh
about
my
you, Ms.
goodness.
Di?
So I would say this year so far I'm a vegetarian. It's been years previous where year before last I was a strict vegan. But this year I have allowed myself, you know, more of a different variety of types of food. So with me personally, I tend to, between the three, I do all three. Some seasons I'm a vegan, some seasons vegetarian, and some seasons I go pescatarian.
Oh, wow.
And generally at the beginning of January, due to, you know, just my religious background, I strictly always go vegan at the beginning of the year.
Oh,
Then
wow.
once, yeah.
Does your body kind of get a little off hook from doing different things, or does it seem like okay?
It seems okay because I try to don't rush immediately.
Okay.
I give myself some time to back away before I switch into different, you know, from vegan to vegetarian, from vegetarian to pescatarian. I don't rush right into it. I try to give myself like at least like 4 weeks to ease into each different stage.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's very good.
Wow. Now, how do you replace meat? Okay, if you want that meaty bite and you're a person that's trying to change the way you eat and you're trying not to eat meat, what do you use to replace meat?
There's a lot of different substitutes actually that you can use, and you'll be surprised. You can use jackfruit. With jackfruit, you can put a lot of seasonings. It's kind of like a tofu, which is another replacement as well. You can take chicken seasoning, you can take teriyakis, and you can put all of that on tofu or jackfruit, and it will give you the illusion as if you're eating meat.
So is jackfruit really fruit? Is it a piece of fruit?
Yes,
It is a piece of
meat.
fruit. It's very meaty.
Oh,
Very
wow.
meaty.
Now, where do you get this jackfruit from? Can you get it from the
You can get it
regular?
from Whole Foods, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And
Now-
can you get it from the regular grocery store like a
I wouldn't
Dave's or-
say, because I only see it in Whole Foods every now and then. So I'm thinking it has to be in
Yeah.
season. There's some that's canned, and the fresh fruit, I very rarely see. So if I
Yeah.
see it, I get it because I
Oh,
don't see the
wow.
fresh fruit a
Yeah.
lot.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that. Wow.
You
But a lot of
also-
people use that for like shredded chicken. They
Yes,
use
they
the jackfruit for that.
Oh, very interesting.
And other options that they have is Beyond Beef.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is, they take a lot of different vegetables and beans and they combine it kind of into a meatball or a hamburger patty or even fake chicken nuggets.
Wow, I've seen that
And they use beet.
in the grocery
Yeah,
store.
and they use
Beet
a
for
lot
the
of
color.
beet.
Oh, to give it that red
Yep,
color.
to give it the red color.
Ah,
Comes from
okay.
beets.
And you
Yep.
can
Wow.
and you can use it as if you're eating a regular hamburger. You can put it on your grill and make hamburgers. You can actually you make spaghetti that has meatballs, and you just use it the same way as if you're using regular beef, chicken, or pork.
But how does it taste? Does it have the?
Now I'm 2 years in, so it's regular to me.
It tastes
To
pretty
someone who may be new to it, you can tell a slight difference,
Okay.
but it isn't a difference where you're like, oh no, I would never eat that again. It's like, okay, I can get used to this.
Okay.
It's different. It's not real meat. So
Well,
just,
it's an acquired taste.
I wouldn't even say that because it really is going to be based off how you season it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Season it very well.
So
Season
that's
it-
very important when it
Yes.
comes to vegan and vegetarian,
yes.
getting
Yes,
some
it
good
is.
seasoning.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of stuff that I've noticed with being, on my healthy food diet is a lot of stuff is spicy. So I'm getting used to more spices because they'll throw a lot of like crushed red pepper and cayenne there
Okay.
to give it that kick
Give it
that
that
you're
flavor.
missing. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Now, I know when we did our 30-day challenge and we went with Meatless Mondays, I was pretty good with that, I went like Monday and Tuesday. a
Okay,
couple
good,
weeks.
yeah.
And I used a lot of mushrooms
Okay,
Yes.
and black olives
Yes.
because they had that meaty,
Okay.
the meaty taste
Now
to
I've
it.
heard of the mushrooms. People use that to make chicken wings or chicken nuggets or anything. But I haven't heard anybody use olives as much as like eggplants to replace the meat or like squash and
Well,
stuff.
see, I mainly put it in my salads.
Okay.
So, if, just to have an extra bite.
Mhm.
And I also stir fried it
Okay.
with mushrooms and onions
Ooh.
with some good seasoning, like you
Yeah.
said, and it gave it a really good meaty flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how have this changed your life since do you feel better?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. For me personally,
Mhm.
I definitely have noticed a change in my energy levels just by eating raw and more healthier. When you wake up in the morning, you feel more rejuvenated. You don't feel, how you have those naps and sometimes you can feel sluggish because you ate a heavy dinner and you're like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling so weighed down and heavy? So I noticed that when I eat more of a cleaner diet, you just wake up with energy.
Wow.
Throughout the day, you have a lot of energy. It also is good because for me, it has upped my water intake. So it's very good for flushing out your system. You definitely want to keep your system cleansed as well too, because that's where a lot of sickness and disease come in by not keeping your system flushed out and cleansed. So upping my water take and eating a lot cleaner has prevented, certain, you see what I'm saying? It's like a preventative of high blood pressure and certain things, that we can definitely fall into. And I also combine it with exercise as well too. But for me, it's all about that energy. My energy is much better than it used to be when I ate with the meat.
Okay.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of energy as well. I feel more like it helped. I had some health issues going on a few years ago, and once I changed my eating, it cleared it all up completely. And doctor wanted me to take some stuff like, weekly and daily, and I'm like, I can figure out something else, an alternative. And I went online, found different foods, that feed stuff, that don't feed stuff. So I was able to get it together, and I'm on the right track.
That is awesome to know, because this is National Minority Health Month. So anything that we can help to prevent something from disease or something from happening, is always a great thing. You guys have a lot of good information. Now, how can this help our community, help the minority community by going vegan or vegetarian, or starting just plant-based a little bit at a time?
I think in our community, it's the fact that we don't have access to these foods. So we're eating processed foods, maybe even from the dollar store, or you know, from Walgreens or something, which isn't the healthiest for our bodies. So mentally, we're being affected because we're putting in all this junk into our bodies. It's no one's fault. We don't have access to it, so you know, we do what we can. You still have to eat. But I just feel like it would help our community with mental illness altogether if everyone had access and it was affordable for everyone to eat healthy. They can get their energy up, they can think clearly, you know, they can drink water and see what's going on. Okay, I can think clearly, my vision's clear, I know what to do now, I can do this, I can do that. But if we're still eating this, you know, stuff that we, you know, we just don't want, it's processed, we're never detoxing our body. We're just adding in toxins and adding in.
It's almost like as if we're just poisoning ourselves. I hate to use the word poison, but if it's processed, it's man-made, and we don't really know what's in there.
And if you look into our community, we have a lot of diabetes.
Yes.
And you notice when, you know, the first thing when people go to their doctor and dealing with diabetes, they always tell them to change their diet. And it's always, you know, you're eating clean, you're keeping away from certain pork, and you have to be careful with your salt intake and things of that nature, and that can actually reverse the diabetes as well too. And also we struggle with kidney disease as well too. So when you change your way of eating to this healthy plant-based diet, you can actually see results, and it can save your life. It can keep you off the dialysis machine. It can keep you, you know, from losing a limb, you know, as well due to the diabetes. But you just have to take that first step.
Take the first step and make sure you're happy with it. I know a lot of people who change their diet out of force or something, and it actually made it worse because they became depressed.
Oh wow!
So you know, they started gaining more weight. They weren't energized because it's like, I don't want to eat
because they don't want to eat that.
Yeah. So I had to find a lot of recipes, and man, have I made my own recipes at this point. Because if you don't have it in the kitchen, you're not gonna want to eat it. You have to still be satisfied.
So would you suggest? I mean, how would you suggest someone start off? If I wanted to start off plant-based, without totally giving everything up, what would you suggest I do?
I would start off slow, very slow. Like you said, you did Meatless Mondays. Maybe start off with Meatless Mondays or Meatless Tuesdays, but do it slow. I went cold turkey. I tried to do vegan cold turkey. It didn't work out. I did it for a week, and I was still hungry. So I was not, like, I was going to bed like I'm starving. Maybe that was a week that lasted, and then I went pescatarian. I gotta eat something. And I knew I wasn't going to be happy with not eating anything, so I was like, I have to eat again.
So you definitely have to, with anything, do your research. And then know your limitations. For me personally, what helped me was I had to go into my cabinets and refrigerator, and I had to take out everything that was opposite of plant-based. So that helped me too. And then researching in the books, I had to get certain recipes and certain substitutes. For example, if you've been eating pork all your life and chicken, it's in you. You're going to have that craving for some type of barbecue every now and again. So it's in the wisdom of researching, like, what can I use as a substitute, a healthy substitute, where I'm not really giving it up, but I'm still getting that nutrition that my body needs. You know, say for instance, like a jackfruit, you can throw some barbecue sauce on it, and you're thinking you're eating a pulled pork sandwich.
I'm gonna have to try this jackfruit. I'm gonna have to try this jackfruit.
I recommend you try it from a restaurant first. I tried to cook it at home. It's not the same. You gotta do a lot to it. You gotta like boil it for some hours and do something else with it. So it's definitely something that takes time. Like I said, it's been 2 years for me, so I just now like learning. I know what recipes to make. When people come over, I know what I can make them, even if they eat meat, and they'll still eat this. So I'm like, this is a great dish to feed people.
Oh, wow.
And even for milk, you
that's a big one.
have to substitute for your milk. So you know we've been brought up with milk. We're a society of milk. So how do you substitute for that? If you want some type of cereal in the morning, if you're eating 100% whole grain, well, where's my substitute? For some people, they'll go to the grocery store, they'll get almond milk, or some people make their own almond milk where you have to take the almonds and you soak them, and you know, it's a whole process within that. So you do have to prepare. And I noticed that with being a vegan, a vegetarian, whatever, you have to have discipline. You know, you really can't be, I guess just lazy with this, because you have to prepare your food. It's not something that you can grab out of the box or out of the can. This takes preparation. Certain things takes days of preparation. If you're doing your, your almond milk, it's going to take some time. If you want something sweet to snack on, I dry a lot of my fruits and vegetables, so that's a process. You're going to need that time within a day. So it does take time. You do have to prepare. You do have to have some type of, I'm a planner. So I have a schedule, I write everything out, or write my recipes out, and it really does help. But, you know, for some people, like, you know, going cold turkey with vegan, don't do it. I did it for everyone. I would say the pescatarian, the vegetarian, you first things to start with. The vegan will take you out. That you have to build your way up to it, and that is a slow process, you guys. So use wisdom with that.
And to piggyback off the milk, almond milk's usually everyone's go-to. Oh, I can go get almond milk. But then you have people who have nut allergies. So you're trying different milks with your macaroni and cheese or your mashed potatoes. Oat milk is a good milk that's not too much flavor, but it's light. Almond milk is very thick. Coconut milk is like right in between, but it's very sweet. So you're going to have to try different milks and figure out which one is for you. And soy milk, everyone thinks for some reason that that's like a really healthy milk. It actually has more fat than non-fat. 2% milk or non-fat milk. So, you know, read up on it and just taste it. Even if you go to your girlfriend's house and she got something, just say, can I have a little bit so I can taste it, see what it's like. You have to try them out, because, man, I made some macaroni and cheese with some almond milk one time, and it was not. It was not okay. It was not okay. So yeah, just try it.
Oh my goodness, this is very interesting, ladies. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And we have a lot of books here at the East Cleveland Public Library on vegetarian, vegan. We have books on diabetes, what to do when you want to change your way of eating, which will change your health, mental and physically. So I plan to, I'm not going to say I'm going to become a vegan or vegetarian, but I'm going to take it a little bit at a time with the plant-based.
Okay.
And then I'll get back with you guys.
Yeah, and we'll check like this summer or next April and see,
and see how
where everyone is.
Yes.
Good idea.
Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.